I've been wondering why Bobby Lee has never done a comedy special or gone on a comedy tour. And at first I didn't really look into it because I would just dismiss it as him being lazy. But that was until last weekend when I saw that he actually opened for Tom Segura at a pretty big theater in Canada. I remember they actually talked about it about 3 months ago when they did the YMH podcast episode. And it was just nice seeing Bobby Lee actually following through and doing it.
Can I ask you a favor?
Okay.
Can I ask you a favor?
Did you eat the Epsom salt or did you put it in?
Can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
Will you do a weekend with me?
I would love to.
Will you for real?
100%. Are you kidding me?
And you'll answer the phone, like you'll answer
Dude,
texts.
I'll promote. And you don't have to even pay me that much. Just give me opening fee.
It's like different city every night, airplane, bus. Like he has a rough, it's not easy.
I mean, I am Bobby Lee.
It's one weekend.
I think you could use that, right?
I would love to do it for
Yeah.
fun.
Well, how much time is he doing, Tom?
You're doing 20 a set?
Yeah, 20, yeah.
20,
So
yeah.
I think $2,500 probably.
Whoa, you just upped it.
Raised,
I know, I just thought about it. But $2,500, $2,000.
Okay.
You're right. You know, I would do it for $2,000 and everyone heard it first.
Some people took it the wrong way and were a bit upset that Bobby was opening for Tom. And we'll talk about that, but we'll also look at why did Bobby Lee wait so long, or what held him back this whole time? Was it maybe that he wasn't trying to burn his material, or was it possibly his relationship with Kalila? So let's take a look at that. But before we continue, if you can do me a huge favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. And we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, just cut this out, but I turned down a movie.
Well, really? Why?
I think this is worth talking about.
Wait, why did you turn a movie down?
Because it was
Well, I yelled a whole lot, but
she did too, but it made sense to me. It was like there was like an Asian accent. Right? And it was a cool movie. It's a vampire movie. I could say that.
yeah,
Right?
probably a blockbuster kind of.
Maybe a blockbuster kind of a movie with a real action director. And he zoomed me, right? We zoomed each other and he was trying to convince me to the movie. But at the end of the day, it's like, and the money was going to be good. It's going to be, I might have taken if I didn't have this other movie I'm doing, but
No, you wouldn't have.
Okay.
I refuse. I honestly,
all right.
Bobby, 2021, you have you have blazed a path for a lot of Asian American people in the industry. The fact that you would regress and do a film with an accent would break my heart.
Before watching that podcast episode, there was a time that I stopped watching or listening to Bobby Lee simply because every time somebody would ask him about doing a comedy special, he would just play the victim. And it wasn't until time passed by and more information or more personal information about his life came to light, that's when I started to realize that there was possibly other reasons why he waited this whole time. One of them being his relationship with Kalila. Because after watching that clip, I realized how much influence she actually had over his decisions and over his life, which it's not a bad thing, because that's how relationships work. You're supposed to listen to your partner, give them advice. Now, whether that advice was good or bad, that's a different conversation.
I know some people are offended by utilizing a stronger accent. It's all in good fun. It's not making fun of.
But if the character is a whole person and well thought of,
I should have done that Jamie Foxx movie.
No, they only wanted
one?
you for the accent.
They said accent only, please.
No, I should have done it.
No, because
It's out. It's coming out now, and I should have done it.
Oh, is it the vampire?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good.
It looks good, right? It's like, in looking back, I could have made that part fun. I could have made that part, and I'm a
Because there are people in America that have Filipino accents,
Yeah.
Chinese
Right.
accents, Korean accents.
So I fucked up. I should have been Easter Sunday.
Now, that in itself is not clear evidence, because you could argue that, yeah, her and her family would get offended if he did take that role and did that accent. It's a fair argument. Now, what I would respond to that is simply pull up all the recent episodes in which Bobby Lee has done the accent just to make people laugh. Because at the end of the day, that's the job that he was offered, to make people laugh as an actor. But whatever. Now, here's where things get interesting. The other detail that made me believe that him being in a relationship with her was holding him back was the fact that now that they have broken up, he has been going crazy. He's been grinding, appearing on a lot of podcasts, doing TV appearances, and even talking about wanting to go on the Joe Rogan podcast, and now finally opening for Tom Segura, which is big. But the funny thing is that you can also argue that it's just pure coincidence, because that is a normal response to a breakup. If you are Bobby Lee, it's normal that you want to get out there doing all these things to occupy your mind, and at the same time showing your ex that you're doing better without them.
He has Netflix on his iPad.
I have Netflix on my iPad, but my point
Okay,
is that
by the way, I 100% do not expect you to watch my stand-up special.
but I'll tell you
will
the reason
never
why I
watch
won't.
yours. Why don't you have one?
that's the reason why.
Age-old question.
That's the reason why. Is because I'm such a lazy writer, and I hate my material, and on and on and on, that it's just one of those little things that plagues me.
Why don't you retire it on a special?
Yeah, and then you'd have to start over.
Yeah, but when I asked about it, they go, well, you want to do a 15-minute one?
Oh, the stand-ups.
Right, that one? And I'm like, what?
The second and most rational explanation that I can think of is Bobby Lee now wanting to burn his material. A lot of you guys might know this, but this whole thing of putting your stand-up material on social media, it's a very new thing, because before then, typically comedians would do their material, do their same act for over 10 or 20 years. But now there are comedians like Andrew Schultz, Stavros, and yes, Brennan Schaub, who post clips of their stand-up on their social media to attract new people to go see them on their shows. And comedians like Louis C.K. showed everybody that it was possible to come up with a new hour every single year. And Bobby Lee has said himself that he has actually done the same act for the past 10 years. So I don't blame him if he wants to have the same approach to comedy, to do the same act. However, we'll see if that changed or if he still wants to keep the same act, because keep in mind that he is touring next year with Andrew Santino doing the Bad Friends podcast, and he has to come in full force with that one.
I also I like what you said about like the family aspect of it. It's
Yeah,
like,
man, we're all a
well,
fucking,
I've heard a couple of people go, why are you opening for Tom Segura this week?
I know you called me and you said that.
And people were like saying that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like, I don't look at it that way. It's like, he's family.
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun with him at his show. And that's how I see it. It's like when we see each other, on the road or at the clubs or when we call each other, there really is a camaraderie and a connection. And I think that's why the East Coast and West Coast scene is different, in the sense that we never had this kind of connection. Now we're growing all together. We bring this little one in, because we want to help her, because we see that she's the next generation. I mean, this is how it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what an incredible show for
What?
the audience. You and Tom Segura.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's insane.
It's an insane show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's what people need to remember and keep.
Now let's talk about people feeling some type of way after seeing Bobby Lee opening for Tom. From what I gathered, I think people thought that it was disrespectful that Tom had Bobby Lee opening for him, as if like he wanted to show him his spot or something like that. Because technically, yes, the opener is way less important than the main act, obviously. But at their level, it doesn't really work like that. In my opinion, it was simply an invitation from Tom so that Bobby Lee could come on and see what it's like to perform in a theater, so that he can see that he actually can take it to the next level, because he can. And like I mentioned, he will be going on a tour next year with Andrew Santino, and I can guarantee you that it will be insane. If you simply look at the numbers, they are completely killing it. Keep in mind that Bobby Lee did mention that he wanted to go on the Joe Rogan Experience, but he wanted to wait until he had something bigger to announce, which is completely understandable. and is a great place, a great position to be in. Think about this. If you're Bobby Lee and you know that your career is literally one Joe Rogan experience appearance from blowing up, and all you got to do is pick up the phone and call Rogan, that's a good position to be in. And I completely understand wanting to wait a little bit until you have something that you can fully monetize, and announce there. But my prediction is that Bobby Lee will fully focus on the Bad Friends tour, and that is what he will promote whenever he goes on the Joe Rogan Experience. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you made it this far, again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. And we will be uploading content at least 3 times a week. Dislike if you didn't like the video, but that is all we have for today. See ya.